Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button
Look,
right now.
we need to talk about what's happening with the Blue Jays right now, because spring training is literally a month away, and they still haven't made their biggest move yet. Everyone's watching the Kyle Tucker situation, but there's another name that just became available that could completely change their offseason strategy. So here's where things stand. Toronto just came off an absolute heartbreaker, losing the World Series to the Dodgers in 7 games. That's the kind of loss that stays with you, right? But instead of sitting around feeling sorry for themselves, they went out and threw $210 million at Dylan Cease. 7 years for a frontline starter. That's a statement move. Then they got aggressive in the international market, bringing in Cody Pounce and Kazuma Okamoto from Korea and Japan, respectively. Both got multi-year deals. They locked up Dalton Varsho and Ernie Clement, avoiding arbitration with both guys. Eric Lauer's the only player heading to a hearing. And yeah, they're still talking to Bo Bichette about coming back, which the fans are obviously hoping works out. All of this tells you one thing. Toronto isn't playing around this year. They want their championship back, and they're spending like they mean it. Now, Kyle Tucker would be the perfect cherry on top. The guy's 28 years old, he's an all-star, he was an MVP candidate, and he's exactly what they need in that outfield. But here's the problem. Tucker's looking at a deal that's going to be over $250 million, maybe way over. And when you've already dropped close to that on Dylan Cease, you start having some real conversations about your budget. The talks have cooled off, and that's where things get interesting. Because just as Toronto's trying to figure out if they can actually afford Tucker, another name hits the free agent market, Cody Bellinger. And before you roll your eyes and think about the guy who struggled in his final years with the Dodgers, you need to understand what Bellinger's done over the last 3 seasons with the Cubs and Yankees. We're talking about a complete revival of his career. 7 years ago, Bellinger won the MVP. That feels like forever ago, doesn't it? Those rough years with the Dodgers made everyone forget just how good he can be when he's locked in. But something clicked when he left Los Angeles. Over his last 3 seasons with Chicago and New York, he's been slashing .287, 340, 846 across 141 games on average. He's hitting 20-plus homers consistently. Last year specifically, he absolutely mashed 29 home runs, posted 125 OPS plus, and put up a 5.1 UAR. That's his highest WAR since 2019. The guy found himself again. Now, the Yankees thought they had him locked up for the long term. Brian Cashman and the front office figured they'd work something out and keep him in pinstripes. But according to Buster Olney over at ESPN, they've hit a wall in negotiations. New York offered him 5 years at around $30 million per season. In their minds, that's fair market value when you look at guys like Pete Alonso and Kyle Schwarber getting similar deals. But here's the thing. Bellinger's agent is Scott Boras, and if you know anything about Boras, you know he doesn't settle for what the market says is fair. He creates his own market. Boras just got Alex Bregman, another one of his clients, a 5-year, $175 million deal with the Cubs. Bregman's a 3-time All-Star third baseman, and he's actually older than Bellinger. So from Boras's perspective, why would Bellinger take less when his client who's older just got that kind of money? He's pushing for a longer deal with more guaranteed dollars, and the Yankees apparently aren't willing to go there. That's created an opening. This is where Toronto needs to be paying attention. If the Tucker negotiations completely fall apart and it's looking like they might given his asking price, Bellinger becomes the most logical plan B. Don't get me wrong, he's not going to be cheap. Nobody with Scott Boras as their agent comes cheap. But compared to what Tucker's commanding, Bellinger would be significantly more affordable while still giving you elite production. Think about what he brings to the table. Last season, he posted a +8 defensive runs saved in right field. That's the exact same position Tucker plays. He's a former Gold Glove winner, so you know the defensive ability is still there. The power's back. We saw that with the 29 homers. And he's proven over 3 straight seasons now that his bat has returned to form. This isn't some hopeful reclamation project. He's already reclaimed himself. For Toronto, adding Bellinger would put the perfect cap on what's already been an incredibly aggressive offseason. You've got the pitching upgrade with Cease, you've got the international additions, you've kept your arbitration-eligible guys happy for the most part, and now you add a proven power bat to the outfield who can play elite defense. That's a team built to compete for a championship. And here's the bonus that nobody's really talking about yet. If Toronto swoops in and signs Bellinger away from the Yankees, you're not just adding talent to your roster, you're taking a key piece away from a division rival. New York clearly wants him back. They made an offer. They think he's part of their core going forward. Imagine the statement Toronto would make by outbidding them and bringing Bellinger north of the border. That's the kind of move that creates real animosity between teams. The kind that makes every game between them must-watch television. Picture this outfield for a second. George Springer, who's still productive when healthy, Dalton Varsho, who they just locked up, and then either Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger in that third spot. If it's Tucker, obviously that's your dream scenario. But if it's Bellinger, you're still talking about one of the most dangerous outfields in the American League. The defense would be elite across the board. The power would be there. The experience would be there. Toronto's front office has shown all offseason that they're not afraid to spend money and make bold moves. They've been aggressive in ways that Blue Jays fans haven't always seen. This feels different than years past. This feels like an organization that knows its window is right now and isn't going to waste it by being cautious. The Tucker pursuit made sense because he's younger and arguably has a higher ceiling going forward. But if the price becomes too steep, or if another team blows them out of the water with an offer they can't match, pivoting to Bellinger isn't settling. It's being smart. The next few weeks are going to tell us everything we need to know about Toronto's plans. Either they're going all in on Tucker regardless of cost, or they're going to make the calculated decision that Bellinger gives them 85 to 90% of what Tucker would at maybe 60 to 70% of the price. Both scenarios end with the Blue Jays as legitimate World Series contenders. One just leaves them with a bit more financial flexibility to address other needs if they pop up during the season. With spring training starting in just a month, we're about to find out which direction they choose.